Hidely hodly YouTube, I'm back with 5 things I gotta tell y'all about. Today's jersey is a special jersey. It's the original Friday Night Tokes jersey, the ball hockey team I play on currently. This was our original jersey when we finally decided to make a team out of the mess of players we had and finally make it official and make ourselves look legit. These were the jerseys we played with for several seasons, a few years worth, until last year or maybe a little more than a year ago we got our newer uniforms. So, which will be coming next, of course. So, but for now, these are the OGs with the, you probably can't see it, but a shark smoking a blunt on the front, because our goalie's nickname at the time was Shark. So, and of course, Friday Night Tokes explains the blunt. So, but anyways, I got 5 things to tell you all about today. Couple books to start. First one is called Star Wars Hunters Battle for the Arena. So obviously this book is based on the Star Wars Hunters game that came out maybe last year, which is that online multiplayer game where you play with other people and you are 4 to a side or whatever, and you have to fight in these different arenas, and there's different match objectives kind of thing. But so this book is basically based on that game, and it focuses on the character right at the front there. She looks like a Sith Lord. Her name is Reeve, and she is Force sensitive, but she's not a Sith Lord. So she actually comes to the planet Vespara, which is where this arena battle thing takes place, and she's running from her past. So she signs up. The arena is run by a Hutt known as Balada, I think her name is, and she has an underling, I forget his name, but he basically takes Reeve under his wing, gets her trained up, sees her potential, and finally gets her into the arena as one of the participants. As she undertakes these battles with her teammates and against her opponents, and it's always random. The people you play against one battle, you're going to play with the next. It's always random. But she seems to have a beef with the droid, who is dubbed Jedi as his kind of nickname because he carries a lightsaber and he truly believes he is a Jedi even though he's a droid. So she takes exception to him, and she always gets caught up in the middle of a fight in trying to get vengeance on him for some reason, and eventually blows it for her teammates. Now her teammates in the meantime have shown a lot of patience with her and a lot of interest in who she is, but she's such a closed off person, she doesn't really let any of that in. But over time, it gets worse because during one battle, she thinks she sees a person from her past that she's running from in the stands. So she abandons the battle and climbs into the stands and goes after this guy who mysteriously disappears, and all her teammates are like, what the fuck? And the guy that runs the battles, God, I really forget his name, is like, what the fuck? Like, you can't be doing that. That's against the rules. Like, you could have endangered somebody. So, but they give her a free pass and they let her continue to compete. And over time, she doesn't want to tell people about her past, but obviously this incident gives them an inkling that something's not right. Something is going on with her that is causing her to act this way. It's not just that she's crazy or anything, right? So eventually this guy in the robe keeps showing up, and eventually reveals himself as actually the guy who's been taking care of her, as kind of like each contestant in these arena battles has like a minder or a personal assistant that like gets them ready for their matches, gives them treatment after their matches, make sure everything's on board with their schedule and stuff. So actually he has been getting really close to her, and all in an attempt to set her up and get his vengeance on her, because back in her past she was an orphan on the planet Corellia, and she ran jobs for people as a courier. And the one time she had to deliver something for the rebellion, and she was like, okay, just another job, didn't think much of it, until she was closed in on by a team of agents that she didn't know who they were, but they gave her a really hard time, and she barely escaped with her life and used her force powers to help her escape. Force powers that she can't really control, and once they build up and she feels threatened, anything can kind of happen, right? So she was basically running from that situation, but this guy that posed as her minder is actually the guy that was the leader of that mission to come get that package intercept that package from her that she was trying to deliver to a rebel operative. So he has laid in wait all this time to try and find the perfect timing and the perfect situation to get his revenge on her. And once she went to Vespara and got involved in these battles, he came on as her assistant, and this was kind of his plan to finally get that vengeance. But in the end, it all erupts into a battle for the arena, as the book is called, and I'm not going to spoil how it all ends up. You'll have to read it for yourself. You're welcome. Next up, this was one of my favorite purchases so far from thrift books. I've reviewed one of these books before, not exactly of this same series, but the same franchise, and I loved it. So this G.I. Joe book called Operation Star Raider is actually from the Find Your Fate series, which is like a choose your own adventure thing. If you remember the Indiana Jones book, for young readers that I reviewed a while back, same sort of thing. You're basically giving choices on certain pages as to which way do you want to go, this way or that way, and then you pick a selection and go to that page and continue the story. So this book was from 1985 and is actually the first book in the G.I. Joe Find Your Fate series. And in it, you read the book and you are involved in the story. You are a character named Wise Guy. You are and you're called Wise Guy because you're in charge of strategy, making the right decisions based on the intel you have and your gut instincts. So Wise Guy wasn't an actual G.I. Joe. They're just made up for this story sort of thing. So basically the story is there's a scientist, last name is Fitzpatrick or Fitzsimmons or something like that. He has developed a anti-nuclear weapon device that will shoot nuclear weapons out of the sky sort of thing, and it's called Star Raider. So the Joes obviously have a lot of interest in hooking up with this guy and getting his tech so that they can protect the world from the threat of Cobra, but Cobra is obviously going to have interest in the same thing. Not that the Joes are going to be sending up nukes or anything like that, but I'm sure they could adapt it to whatever they want. So basically, this doctor is flying into New York City. You as the Joe team need to take command of him, get him in your grasp, and then deliver him to Washington, D.C. so that he can meet with world leaders, the brass of the U.S. military, and see if they can get something cooking with this tech. So you are charged with making all the decisions as this scientist comes into New York, and you make the choice on what you're going to do. So basically there's two kind of paths you can go down at the start. You can either get him off his plane in New York and integrate him into a parade that's actually going on in the city that day to try and disguise him from Cobra and then sneak him out from the parade afterwards. Or you can pick him up from the airport and hit the sky right away and fly him up to Snake Eyes' cabin in the woods in the mountains, into a very remote, unknown location, and have the brass come meet him there for the discussion. So, and then once you pick one of those options, there's all these other options that come up along the way that can either end in you succeeding eventually or in your demise and your failure in the mission. So the first time through, I picked the Snake Eyes cabin option, and every choice I made was the right choice. My instincts were right. I made it through all the way to the end, and a successful mission. So afterwards, though, I went back and I read all the different permutations and options you could go through that storyline. And then afterwards, I did the same as if instead of picking the cabin in the woods, I picked the parade route, and then I went through all those options to see how they all ended. Because there's also hand-drawn pictures in the books and stuff like that. And I like to when you have a book this small that you read through so fast, I like to get as much value out of it as you can, right? Plus it's G.I. Joe, so I'm not gonna mind reading G.I. Joe over and over again, right? So this story had some classic characters, some of my favorites. It had Snake Eyes, obviously a favorite. It had Spirit, Blowtorch, who's awesome, Ripcord, who's awesome, Airtight, one of my favorite Joes of all time, was in it, and I think there was one or two other ones as well. Roadblock, I think, was in there. So lots of characters involved and a few different pieces of tech that are involved in the G.I. Joe series. Super fun read, super quick and easy, and like I said, I really like going back and exploring all the different story options and getting my full value from such a small but wonderful book. So Next, we have 3 video games in a row to close this out. The first one is a sequel I got to a game that I bought thinking, oh, we'll see what this game is about. It should be okay. And I absolutely fell in love with and spent way too much time on. This sequel is Jurassic World Evolution 2. So basically it's the same style of game. It's a park building game, so you are tasked with building Jurassic World or whatever park. You build all the buildings, you build all the fences, you breed all the dinosaurs, you do all the research into uncovering fossils and unlocking genomes, manipulating genomes, taking care of like safety on the island, so every little bit of it, and you have to watch your budget and blah blah blah. There's so many aspects to this game, but they make it all a pretty seamless experience. Now, this game was very similar to the first game, but they did add some different modes and some different looks to it to make it a little more, not just such a repeat of the first one. Like Chaos Theory mode, I think, was the main one. And you got to go through all the different locations, like the original Jurassic Park on Isla Nublar, and then Site B on Isla Sorna, and kind of play through that. You're stuck in that movie's era and look. And you basically achieve your objectives within that kind of framework with each movie, sort of thing. And it goes all the way through to like Jurassic Park 3 and then all the Jurassic World movies. Although the last Jurassic World movie is DLC content you have to pay for some reason, which obviously I didn't, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But then there's a challenge mode where you're plunked down in a certain region, and you have to achieve certain objectives, and you can either play on the bronze, silver, or gold difficulty. And I did the first couple on silver, and it was very, very taxing. So I ended up and just went through all the other ones on bronze. There was one that I couldn't complete; it was just too hard. But I got all the other ones, and then there's a couple other modes too. But it all amounts to the same thing. You've got to build a park, maintain the dinosaurs, keep earning money, not lose money, and just keep your park in balance, and making money, and also keep it safe, sort of thing. So, and in this one, it does have some gameplay where it takes place like after the middle Jurassic World movie, I think it is, where the dinosaurs get out and they're actually just out amongst humans now. So you have that where you're building a park and then a bunch of dinosaurs trundle in from the wild because that's just the way things are now, right? So it does have that post Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, I think it was, kind of outlook where the dinosaurs are living with humans side by side. So yeah, I find this game really interesting. I do enjoy park building games. I can't play a ton of them because they're just all so similar and it's kind of slow moving and stuff. But I think because it's a franchise that I enjoy so much, like I love dinosaurs, I love Jurassic Park. It's just one of my favorite franchises of all time after like Star Wars and Transformers and G.I. Joe and stuff. It's right up there. So the fact that it's a park building game set in the universe of something I love so much makes it so much better than the regular park building type games, which are amazing in their own right. But this one's just so much the sweeter because of what it's based on. So if you like park building games, I would buy those in a heartbeat. If you like Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, but you don't like park building games, I would find them for cheap and take a shot on them because you might find that this could help you develop that love for park building games if it helps you, loving the Jurassic franchise so much. And if you like both, well, fuck, then you're gonna love these games, right? So that's my 2 cents on Jurassic World Evolution 2. Another banger, just like the first one. I heard they're developing a third one that's supposed to be out in 2025 or 26, from what I heard. This one was from 2021, and the original was 2018, I think. So there's going to be like 3 or more years between each game, sort of thing. But I'll definitely do some research on that third one when it comes out, and if it looks like it has enough different stuff in it, I'll probably take a chance on it and play the third one. So, but anyways, that's enough of that. Next game up, one that I got as one of my PlayStation Plus free monthly downloads eons ago. I finally decided to download a bunch of those a while back before I moved and started playing them. And this is one of the ones that I recently played and completed 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was a lot of fun. And it is called SpongeBob SquarePants: The Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Now, the reason this game is called Rehydrated is because this game was originally released for PS2 back in 2003, I believe it was. So they just basically did an update of it and released it on current systems back in 2020. So the story is that Plankton, the evil fiend that he is, has created a device called the Duplicatron 2000 or 3000 or something like that. So basically it can duplicate things. So he creates robots and then duplicates them to create a robot army and take over Bikini Bottom and destroy the Krusty Krab and finally get that Krusty Krab recipe from Mr. Krabs, which is what his sole desire in life is. However, the plan backfires. All the robots rebel against Plankton and they're basically set loose on Bikini Bottom and all of its surrounding areas and start causing all sorts of havoc, even towards Plankton. In the meantime, SpongeBob is having a sleepover with Patrick, I think it is, and he ends up having a dream about robots coming to invade Bikini Bottom and causing all sorts of trouble. So when he wakes up the next day and there are robots actually causing trouble, he feels it's kind of his fault through this dream, and he's like, I gotta set things to rights. So then he works alongside Plankton, Mr. Krabs, who else gets in there? Mermaid Man and fuck, what's his... Shit, what's his... The guy with the, the schnoz. I forget his name, his assistant, his Robin to his Batman. I forget his name, but a bunch of people that... oh, fuck, now the driver's license girl, Mrs. Puff. All these characters show up. Larry the Lobster show up and guide SpongeBob through his journey. So basically you're trying to shut down this robot infestation, but you have to work your way through different areas of Bikini Bottom before you can confront the final boss. And the way you do this is you perform certain tasks or complete certain objectives, beat certain levels, and by doing so you gain golden spatulas. Now these golden spatulas, once you collect enough, allow you to unlock a new region of Bikini Bottom. And with each one you unlock, the cost for the next one kind of goes up. So in the end, in order to unlock the final level within the Chum Bucket restaurant, you need like 75 golden spatulas or something like that. So you have to go through all these pre-existing levels and complete as much stuff as you can before you can access that final level. So the different areas in the game, there's like Goo Lagoon, Kelp Forest, the Flying Dutchman's Ship Graveyard, Bikini Bottom Downtown, Mermaid Man's underwater lair, or whatever it is. So there's all these different areas you have to go to, Sand Mountain, in order to fulfill all the objectives within each area and get all the golden spatulas so that you can finally confront the final boss. And of course, once you do, you set things to rights, you save Bikini Bottom, and also save Plankton's ass, which, you know, you're so stupid, you don't even know it, right? So this game actually took me by surprise because I've played a few SpongeBob games over the year. One of them was like a party game on the Nintendo GameCube, and you can't really take those serious as like real games, you know, like even though it was fun, it's not a good representation of like a normal SpongeBob game, like a level, side-scrolling, whatever, right? And the other ones I played were okay, but they weren't great. So I was really happy when this one actually was a lot better than I was expecting. I really got into it. It was, at the time, I was playing a bunch of games. I think Jurassic World was in the mix, and a few other games. And it was probably SpongeBob and Jurassic World were the two games that I look forward to playing the most out of the bunch. And I was like, oh, it's SpongeBob Day. I was like, oh, fuck, let's go. And I'd usually do a longer session on that game because I loved it so much, right? So I really enjoyed it. So I'm not sure if you like SpongeBob, I would say definitely get this rehydrated version because it is so much fun. It plays really well too. There are some issues with some of the jumping. Sometimes the depth perception can be a bit off, but otherwise the game is spot on and it's a ton of fun. And I'm sure it's probably cheap too. So being, you know, from 2020, it's got to be, you know, lower in price. So if you like SpongeBob, this will probably be your favorite game. Just saying. Last up, this was another free PS Plus monthly game download from a long... Actually, this one wasn't that long ago. This one was more recent. And this game is from 2022. And when I saw it, I thought one thing, and when I downloaded it and started playing it, it ended up being quite different from my imagination. And the game in question is called Rollerdrome. So this game was designed by an indie company. I can't remember the name of them. But when I saw Rollerdrome, when I saw the title like screen with the girl with the helmet on and stuff, I thought it was like more of like a roller derby kind of game, or like back in the 80s, the show that was on TV, Roller Games, where it was like a roller derby rink with a wall, and it was teams like the Thunderbirds and the Misfits, and they would go and try and beat the shit out of each other and cause mayhem and stuff. I thought it was going to be something like that, but it's not. The story takes place like around the year 2030, and Rollerdrome is the hottest kind of sports event on TV. Basically, it pits participants who go out as single performers at the time within some sort of arena, and there are hordes of house players who are armed with weapons, various types of weaponry, and are gunning to take you out. So when you lose all your energy and you die, you obviously lose. But if you can make your way through each arena and dispatch all the opposition until there's nobody left, you move on to the next arena, and you go through a full season, and if you can win the finals, then you win Rollerdrome and you are the champion. So you play as a character named Kara Hassan, and I think there is there's between like 12 and 15 arenas. I can't remember exactly how it breaks down in that first season you play. And it starts kind of easy as like quarterfinals or qualifiers, then it goes to quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the finals. And of course it gets harder with each time. And some of the arenas are set up so that there's kind of environmental problems. Some of them, most of them are in enclosed places where you don't really run into any trouble, but a few of them are like, they're outdoors, and there's one platform here, another platform here, and then you could fall through down a crevice when traversing or jumping between the two platforms, which adds a whole nother element. And I really struggled with some of that sometimes. I'm just trying to escape, and then I fall down a fucking crevice. And, but yeah, as you go, you are equipped with some basic weaponry at first, but as you advance, you unlock new weapons like a rocket launcher, this charge-up beam gun, which is really cool. But as you go along, also the nature of enemies get tougher and tougher. Like there's these big mechs, and then these guys that fire these ice guns that track you, and then as soon as you shoot them, the guys disappear and warp to somewhere else. So it takes a long time to kill them. And so you not only have to balance your weapons and these irritating enemies, but you've got to evade all their shots, and you've got to make sure you have ammo to dispatch them. So because you run out of ammo really quick, you don't have a lot of capacity for ammo. So when you run out, the way you regain ammo is you do tricks. So like there's always ramps and walls and stuff like that. So you roll up them, you do a bunch of flips and spins and twists, and you land, and you got more ammo, sort of thing. So it's a balance between playing offense, playing defense, and then going on ammunition harvesting missions, right? So it's a very difficult game. I got through, I think, all but the last two levels. I couldn't complete them as they were, so I had to turn on some cheats in order to get through them. And I had no shame in doing that too, because this game is fucking hard when it gets near the end. Yeah, I'm too old for that shit. I've said it many times. I get that worked up over a game, I might have a fucking heart attack. So you know what? Turn on invincible mode, turn on unlimited ammo, you know what? And we'll get her done. So if you go through all those arenas and you win them all, then you're the grand champion, Kara Hassan of Rollerdrome 2030. So, and then after you beat the game, it goes into like super hard mode, and then you can basically replay the season with a new dark suit that you wear and stuff like that. So, which I did because I just kept all the cheats on, and it was like, I'm just gonna play through this because I have a feeling there's gonna be some trophies to be earned in this mode, and there was a whole bunch of extra trophies I got just by playing through. And with all the cheats on, it didn't take me that long because I couldn't die, right? So, and it was actually a lot more fun. So, well, not a lot more fun, but a lot less frustrating, let's say. So, but either way, Rollerdrome is a really cool game. And considering it was free with PS Plus, that makes it even better, right? So, if you like indie games, if you like roller skating and shooting people at the same time, this game might be up your alley. I'm not sure how much it goes for regularly. I'm guessing because it's an indie game, it wouldn't be that much. So if you can get it for a decent price, I'd say definitely go for it. It's definitely a different kind of game, and it's a lot of fun. And it's lucky it does come with those cheats, because then it guarantees no matter how hard the game gets, you'll always be able to beat it, sort of thing, right? So definitely recommend. Now, my next 5 things I think will be coming fairly shortly, relatively, because I've already knocked down the first thing, and I've got more stuff in line. So yeah, hopefully I can be back in the very near future with my next Friday Night Tokes jersey on. Till then, stay alive, baby.
Meow.